to another episode of Muscle Matters. I am here with my favorite person in the whole wide world, Mr. Mike Harvey. One day I'll convince him to eat breakfast. I don't know when, but one day he'll eat breakfast. So today's episode, we're going to talk about brain stuff. I mean, I don't have a lot of brain stuff. I think I'm down to like one brain cell, and it's dyslexic.
I got a little bit sometimes, but right now she's in the other room taking care of the kids.
There you go. That's correct answers. So stick around. We'll be right back talking Nootropics right here on Muscle Matters. It's interesting. There was a couple different ways to spell this. There's nootropics, and then there's neurotropics.
And old tropics.
Yeah. I don't know about old tropics. I like the new stuff. The old stuff doesn't work. And, you know, it's a really interesting subject that we're going down. And kind of want to start generic before we get into herbs.
Well, do you want to talk about how we went down this shop, like how this
go ahead.
conversation? Okay, so I was sitting in on my chair, and of course, you know, doom scrolling, I guess is the proper term to use, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got this ad for Joe Rogan and the Alpha Brain thing, and so I was like, hey, dude, what do you know about this? And also questions, like two questions. What do you know about this? Is it any good? And he did say it was. I think you said it was
It's
okay.
decent, yes.
And how is that different from NAD?
Now, one of the things, NAD plus is something we'll get to NAD plus, but that's what I recommended to him is an NAD plus. So let's start at the very beginning on why most people need nootropics, and it's real simple on why most people need it. Number one, we're sleep deprived.
Yep.
Number two, we're not well hydrated.
I do okay at that one.
And number three, we don't have food.
That one I'm missing too.
Yeah. Now, so one of the craziest things when you go down the rabbit hole of the nootropics is amino acids and creatine are at the top of it.
I took aminos today.
Yeah. See what it basically is. The lysine that's in there, it helps the brain become stimulated. It helps the brain become more cognitive. And basically, it's something you can get from food. So if you're not well nourished, the brain's not going to work.
So I have a question.
Yes.
And this is an honest question out of ignorance. So hopefully it's a legitimate question. You said lysine. Is that different from lysine?
No, lysine, however you pronounce it.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I got one brain cell and it's dyslexic.
Well, no. I legitimately, I was like, I'm dumb enough not to know that it's not the same thing.
Dyslexic.
And you just mispronounced it.
I'm going to, yes, expect that a lot.
Okay.
Dyslexic.
I was trying to clown you, bro.
I didn't take any neuros today. So, and then the funny one is most people don't realize is creatine. And the reason creatine falls into this category is the one thing creatine does, it hydrates the muscle. So it hydrates the cells. So the brain is a cell.
And brain is a muscle too, right?
No, it's a cell. It's a cell.
It's not a muscle at all.
Yeah,
okay.
no,
See, I told you all I was dumb.
But it's living tissue. And it needs hydration. The body is made of hydration. So creatine actually allows the brain, if you're unhydrated, so somebody that's hydrated won't notice where creatine does anything for them. But if you're dehydrated, take a little bit of creatine, you'll notice that you have a little more cognitive ability. And that's all this stuff is about increasing cognitive abilities. Now, most things out there, I'm going to say this once, why my dyslexic one brain cell is thinking about it. Most stuff out there that's on the market doesn't cross over this thing called the blood-brain barrier, the triple B.
BBB.
Yeah, so the triple B, what it does is it's a buffer for the brain, and it does not allow everything to get into the brain. It's supposed to stop everything. That's why something like one of the interesting things was nicotine.
Yeah.
Nicotine is listed as a tropic. And it's crazy.
And that was crazy.
Because it's so addictive.
Right.
Now, we'll get to why it's addictive. And the reason why it's listed as a tropic is because it crosses the blood-brain barrier extremely easy.
Yeah.
Especially when it's smoked.
And apparently, I guess, and I know you'll probably get to this, but apparently it can be good for you.
That's what they say, but I have a hard time believing that somebody like me that's an ex-smoker.
Yeah.
I would never think that nicotine would do me a lick of good because as somebody who used to smoke, my body's going to recognize one chemical and it's going to go, where's the other one that goes with it? So, and the amount of nicotine that you're supposed to take for it to actually work is like extremely microdosed.
Like 1 to 5 milligrams.
Yeah, it's extremely microdose. Don't go out there and don't justify smoking your cigarettes, because let's just face it.
And in fact, the video I watched, it literally, and I was teasing you, but it literally said, like, this doesn't include smoking. Smoking's bad for you. Chewing's bad for you. This is taking it orally in capsule
We're talking
form.
about the one ingredient, nicotine, not the tobacco, not the tar.
In capsule form. Yeah.
Not all the other things. And the reason why smoking is, what nicotine does is nicotine increases the dopamines. Dopamines are the things that excite you.
Yeah.
And then it slows down GABA. GABA is what relaxes us. So if I'm giving you all gas and no break, you're excited and you're out the gate. So that's one of the interesting things that I thought about going down the rabbit hole of these tropics. Now, the other things that if you look at most tropics that are sold, they come with some form of caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
Caffeine in itself is a neurotropic. And the reason it's a neurotropic is because it's stimulating. And when your body is stimulated, you think more. The Nazis I sent you that link with the Nazis.
Yep, the methamphetamine. Yeah.
It's a crazy rabbit hole if you ever want to go down it. It's Nazis and meth. Like meth has been around since the 1920s. And the meth that we're talking about is not the meth that was cooked in Breaking Bad.
Here, I'm gonna share it so everybody can see it.
Okay, Uncle Billy Bob was not. This isn't the meth that Uncle Billy Bob was making. You could literally get meth in a bubblegum stick.
Yeah,
stick of gum. You could stick a gum, meth, and meth stimulates the mind. I knew some meth heads that built a car in their living room with no mechanical ability.
They couldn't get it out.
Exactly. That's why we still in the living room. I was in high school and they had a car in their living room. And I was like, and they just, what it is, they're stimulating. So now the brain can be overstimulated. So that's a fine line on caffeine and nootropics. It's a very fine line. They did a placebo, they did a caffeine, and they did a meth. What they did discover with meth, and the reason I said it's a real fine line, and what they did discover with meth is you can work harder, you have an ability to study, but you lose your higher cognitive ability. So these people that they did studies on, they weren't random people, they were actually engineers. And they kept them up for 3 days straight doing this work on the engineering. And is that the link? Real interesting rabbit hole. If you guys want to go down a rabbit hole, that's a real interesting rabbit hole right there. And they kept these people awake for 3 days, and what they noticed is the meth heads stayed awake for all 3 days.
Yep.
But they lost their higher cognitive ability. They were still able to do work, but they could no longer
made them dumber.
They couldn't solve the big problems anymore. They could still do work, but they were no longer solving the big.
Well, they're giving it to the military, so they could go out and shoot people.
I think when they gave it to the military is when they actually converted it to meth.
Okay, yeah, because it was just amphetamines, not meth.
Yeah, it was a whole different. No, it had a different name. It wasn't even. It was a different name. Amphetamines.
Benzidine or something
like that. Yeah, I can't remember. One brain cell and it's dyslexic. Now, you'll see a lot of nootropics out there. Lion's mane's a real good one. Let's start at the beginning. The OG. The OG one is ginkgo biloba.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yes, ginkgo biloba is the OG, and ginkgo biloba is still one of the only ones that cross the BBB with ease. It crosses the BBB with ease, and ginkgo has been shown to work, and it's been around. Man, my mom was trying to force feed me that in the 80s. I wish I'd have took it and said, instead of taking the green plant. I wouldn't have one brain cell was dyslexic.
Were they both green plants? It's just different. They have different effects.
Yes, Bob Marley sung about it.
One made you smarter, one made you dumber.
Yes. So ginkgo's been around for a long time, so it's one of the safer, more proven ones. So we've gotten things that go along. You have things like lion's mane. I've never tried it because I typically stay away from herbs at this time of my life simply because of my high blood pressure medication.
Oh, okay. So would it be bad for me to take it?
No, you're not on any medication.
I'm like interested in that first video, the very first one. I was like, I want to go through
and the reason the lion's mane is really good, it's you'll find it in a lot of these. It's become the new must go to neurotropic, and you find because it's in all the coffees.
Okay.
If you look up all these neurotropic coffees, they all have lion's mane in there. And one of the things, like I said, one of the things you'll notice is most neurotropics run hand in hand with caffeine. And the reason we went down the rabbit hole with the Nazis is caffeine is a stimulant. It gives off dopamine as well.
Uh-huh.
So you've got something that's going to make you concentrate a little bit better, and it's not always a lot better. It's a little bit better. And then you have caffeine, so your body is pushing, you're stimulating, you're going higher, and you're able to focus more. It's one of the things I don't like about nootropic products is I want to get away from caffeine. I don't like a lot of caffeine. I like to be relaxed. So it's hard to find different ones that don't have caffeine in it. That leads me into the ones I like the NAD.
Yeah. So and that leads us back to the original conversation.
Yes. Now the NAD plus, it's from the bee, and NAD plus is a real simple way, and it's crazy when you go down the NAD plus rabbit hole. The NAD plus, what it does is it helps. It's supposed to. NAD is something our brain naturally makes, and it fires. There are sparks of energy in our brain. As we get older, it's not sparking as much. So there's products out there that have been shown to cause the brain to spark more. And NAD is what keeps us from getting old. So products like NAD Plus were made to stimulate that spark. But the problem is not every NAD crosses the triple B.
Okay. Well, I know I can tell you from just experience over the last few weeks,
Mm-hmm.
month or whatever, and I didn't notice until I stopped taking
Mm-hmm.
it. And then all of a sudden I was tired, like more tired, because, as I started doing some new stuff in my life, started doing the morning show and everything,
Mm-hmm.
I get up at like 3 in the morning. And then I'll go till 9, 10, and 11 o'clock at night, still like I normally would when I was waking up at 5 in the morning.
Yes.
But when my bottle ran out, which I just found, we had a second bottle in the cabinet. I just found it today. When my bottle ran out, I was like, man, I'm more tired. The only thing that I really noticed that was different was 3 supplements that I stopped taking: the RAD, the NAD, and the other one, the E-Guard, but that isn't going to have anything to do with
that one. Now, those 2 supplements right there
make a big difference.
Make a big difference. We'll come back to the RAD in a minute. NAD is really great because what it does is, like I said, it's the spark that gets everything going, and it's the anti-aging, it's the energy that we need. So that NAD plus, and we're only getting it when you take an NAD product, you're only getting it about 20%. So you're only getting it at 20%. Now, the one that works the best for NAD is the one that's gray marketed, and you have a hard time finding it. Nick. NMN. NMN is, oh my God. That's like hitting nitrous.
What's the difference?
Oh my God.
So that's the one I really want.
Oh my God. NMN, I really liked it, but the dosage, I can't find one where I can get it in a small enough dose. The dosage I took was at 5. They recommend 1,000 micrograms. I took 500, and at 500, I couldn't shut up. I couldn't turn my brain off.
So someone like me that has I take the pre-workout, and it's like you're like, oh, here's the easy one.
Yeah.
I'm like, I couldn't sleep the whole rest.
Yeah, and now I was able to sleep, and so it doesn't hype up your heart. It doesn't give you any energy, but my brain wouldn't shut up. I was like, shut up. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about anything. So when I was talking, like if I was to take some NMN before this show, I would never shut up. You would never get a word in edgewise because it won't stop spinning.
Okay.
Now, NMN is really hard to come by, and there's a lot of fake NMN that's sold out there, but it's really hard to come by, and it's absolutely fabulous. Oh, my God, it's fabulous. That's my favorite nootropic. And I only take it on special occasions because, like I said, I don't like being that active. I like being the dumb blonde. Now, you've got different ones out there. What was the pill you were talking about on it, right?
Oh, yeah, Alpha Brain.
Alpha Brain. So
it's
Alpha
on
Brain
Labs.
It's a really good product. Joe Rogan pushes it.
Yeah.
I'm a Rogan fan.
I'm sure he makes plenty of money pushing it too.
Man, Joe Rogan makes money, buku money. And one of the things about on it is his money back.
Okay. Oh,
So-
really? Okay.
So it's a money back. So,
Well, so what's interesting, I remember taking something, I don't remember what it was, and it might have just been the time of my life or who knows what. I didn't feel like it did a whole lot for me.
that's going to be on it.
Uh-huh.
It will work, but it doesn't work in the way that they portray it.
Okay.
So if you're somebody, so say you're dehydrated, you're not eating well, you're not getting your vitamins in, you don't exercise. Exercise is another way to keep your nootropics up. You're not doing all the things. You're sleep deprived. and now you take in a product that's going to slightly stimulate your brain. Like you said, you notice one of the things that with you, you're sleep deprived.
Yeah, my two biggest things are the sleep and the food. I'm getting the workout and
two of
getting
the three you are short of.
Yeah.
So when you did not have the NAD, you noticed right
Oh,
away.
I noticed.
So that's the same thing with nootropics. So most people have sleep, I'm always big advocate of sleep apnea. I believe that over 60% of this world has sleep apnea, and without a machine, you're just not getting that restful sleep. Most people don't make REM. Most people don't have a comfortable bed. Most people, they just don't make REM. And if you don't make REM, you're not going to allow your brain to be able, because sleeping is what rebuilds your brain, your body. So if you can't get to REM to allow your body to recover and rebuild, how are you going to use your brain the next day?
NAD plus.
Yeah. So now you enter in the NAD plus, and basically what NAD plus is most of the good ones come from the B vitamin.
Yeah.
Back in the day, people got shots of B12. Shots of B12 gave you energy and helped you burn body fat.
Yep.
What they did is they stilled your appetite. So most of the other one out there is Reservanol.
Reservoir.
Yeah.
So I know what you're talking about.
Now
I'll look it up while you're talking.
Yeah, those two things go great hand in hand. I just can't take that one because that one's opens up your blood vessels, and once again, you need blood vessels to be open. The more blood you can pump into your brain, the more nutrition you're going to get to the brain, the better the product's going to get to the brain that you're taking. So with you not having food and not having sleep, the NAD, you notice, like, I don't have that thing. It's like when you try to tell somebody not to drink coffee. Coffee is their go-to in the morning because they're looking for a stimulant. Coffee has been shown to be very nootropic. It helps the brain cells open up. It helps you wake up.
Resveratrol.
Resveratrol. Yeah, that word.
I know neither of us can barely pronounce that.
I just said the one with the R. I just threw it out there. Steph Curry from half court. Let's hope it goes in. So these things, so you have that coffee, so you get that stimuli in the morning, and your brain is going, ooh, there it is, because the dopamines fire up.
Yeah.
So it's not so much that your brain is stimulated; you just have dopamines going now.
Okay.
So there's a million memes out there in the world. It's don't talk to me before I had my morning coffee.
Oh, I'm definitely that guy.
Because your body's waiting for its dopamine.
Yeah, it's as soon as I have my cup of coffee. It's like as soon as I finish my cup of coffee, my brain turns on.
It's like a Pepsi commercial. Pepsi, you crack a can of Pepsi, it makes you want a Pepsi automatically. It's just an automatic thing. Why do you think energy drinks come in the same? That noise is like.
There's something to it.
Yes, so it's a dopamine effect. So they've got you connected. Now, they didn't put nicotine in a cigarette because they wanted your nootropic to work.
They just wanted you addicted.
Bingo, because it sets off your dopamine. So now you have an addictive thing, and that's why I said somebody like me should never touch that, is because now your brain is getting a stimuli in the dopamine. So a lot of these products stimulate the dopamine, not so much.
So someone
brain.
like me, what would you do? So NAD plus obviously was like the first thing you told me to do.
Yes.
Now what do you think about going NMN?
Like I said, Nick Martin.
I got to talk to you about how to get it.
It's absolutely fat.
What about the resveratrol?
We have it at the family shop. It's a
Okay.
peptide. It's woohoo.
I'll just try a little bit.
Yes.
It's probably not an everyday drug.
Oh man, like I said, I couldn't shut up. I'm sure my body would have developed a tolerance to it.
Yeah.
But I would like to keep it around the 100 micrograms versus I take it at 5. If you go to somebody like Rogan recommends it at a gram.
Yeah, but that dude's he's jacked
But he's
on
next
everything.
world.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother episode.
Yes.
But what about resveratrol, nicotine? All the first video you sent me was all the natural stuff. Like
Yes.
what would you Alpha Brain? Like where would you go with it?
Now, for you, number one is sleep. The better your sleep,
that happens on Saturdays and Sundays.
the better your sleep, the better you're going to have more cognitive ability. Because if you're tired, you're using the majority of your energy just to stay awake and stay focused. Versus if you have a good, that's why it's like me. I'm a morning person. I get up in the morning. I'm freshly woke up. My brain is going a mile a minute in the morning. By the time I get to the afternoons, I've already worked out for 2 hours. I've already done cardio. Somewhere along the line. I've had some sort of glycogen to replace the sugar that I lost, and I'm that plane is coming down without the gears down.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people will notice that when you get a good night of sleep, you're more active in the morning. And there are people that are opposite. And what it is, the people that are opposite is because they're night owls because they get their enjoyment from being out at night.
Mm-hmm.
So everything plays on the dopamine.
Yeah.
So if I don't like mornings, I don't have any dopamine. If I love the nights.
Well, you know what's crazy is I was always a night owl.
Mm-hmm.
And then started doing this morning show, and I have so much energy because I want to do it. And I
Oh
enjoy
my
doing it.
God, I worked nights for the majority of my life.
Yeah, right.
I didn't go to bed till 4
And
or
now
5.
you wake up at what, 3:30, 4 o'clock every day?
And I actually like being up in the morning because at night, being a night owl, I have all my dopamines going off, so all my brain signals are going off, and then I'm having to shut down to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Versus having that rush in the morning of dopamine. And then, like I said, towards the end of the day, it's fading away, and I'm able to go to sleep. And I'm like, oh, is this how regular people feel? It's awesome.
Yeah.
I get up, have some bacon and eggs, and life is great. So now another one that's out there is ashwagandha.
I do that too.
Now you have
takes
to
away stress.
Now, yes, that's what ashwagandha really is. It's they list it as a tropic, but it's really good for taking away stress.
Yeah.
So once again, it's listed as a tropic just simply because it pulls down stress.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's pulling down stress, that's going to allow you, once again, to have high cognitive ability because you're not stressed out.
But it also helps me relax to go to sleep.
Yes. Now, there is a catch to ashwagandha. Ashwagandha kills the pleasure sensor.
Hmm.
When taken too much, ashwagandha kills the pleasure sensor.
Meaning what?
The pleasure sensor.
Oh.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
it kills the pleasure sensor.
Okay.
So the achievement is not there when you take too much of ashwagandha.
Well, I don't take it every day.
Yeah, and a lot of people do take ashwagandha because you see it and everything. I have a metal detox that I take. It's ashwagandha, seaweed, and charcoal, and it's to detox the metals out of my body because we have a lot of metals in our body. We don't know it, and we're toxifying our bodies with metal, hurting the kidneys and blah, all the different tissues. So it's in there. So I take ashwagandha during that 1 month period. But there are people who live on ashwagandha because it's being pushed. But the downside to too much ashwagandha,
Yeah.
there's no achievement.
Yeah.
You're not going to win the race. You're going to finish.
Yeah.
And
Ain't
if
about
there's
that.
yes, and you hear a lot of people. I've got a young man. I got a buddy of mine that's always complaining about certain function. He's an ashwagandha head, and I'm always like, stop taking that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
But it comes back.
yes,
Well, that's good.
because
It's only temporary.
yeah, it doesn't suppress testosterone.
Okay.
Speaking of testosterone,
Yeah, we were talking about that.
testosterone is probably for men, aging men, is probably the best thing out there for a neurotropic
Mm-hmm.
because the more we as men age, the more our hormones come off and the less we have testosterone. Testosterone makes you want to get up in the morning. Testosterone makes you want to go around the block. Testosterone makes you want to be active. One of my favorite things about the Rad 140, and you probably can testify to this as well, is the Rad 140. The Rad 140, my favorite thing is it makes you have more mental focus.
Mm-hmm.
I can't put things off when I'm on the Rad 140. If I think about it, I have to do it. It's like walking around with a Post-it note on my forehead, and I look in the mirror and go, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to do that. It's one of my favorite things about Rad 140. It's the first thing I noticed when I was taking the Rad 140 is I was just so I noticed my house was dirty, and I started mopping. Like, oh, bro, clean up right now.
Now that you say that, I haven't really actively thought about it, but you're absolutely right. Like, there's things that,
it sets off your OCD.
I'm like finding myself picking things up, and I'm not naturally a clean person.
I can walk past the sock and not worry about
Right.
it. On Rad, I'm like, stop and pick the sock up, boy.
Right.
And I have to turn around and pick the sock up.
I found myself tweaking out over the lights.
Bingo.
There's a light out. We got to replace it.
Bingo. And that's what testosterone does is it brings back cognitive thinking in men. I'm not really a woman, so I don't have that rabbit hole. So I apologize to the ladies out there that probably want to know
Get Priscilla in here talking
more about it. Now I've stuck her on Rad, but she's naturally OCD. I just get out of her way and go find a corner when she starts cleaning because whatever I do is wrong.
Well, that's always
That's just wrong. You did the dishes wrong. Fine.
Yeah.
I'll go sit over here and play PlayStation. But and so these are different things. So like I said, nootropics are great, but they're also gimmicky
Uh-huh.
because it basically comes down to hydration, rest, and food. I probably should have been hydrated with some water before I started this because I got a dry throat. So hydration, once again, if you are hydrated, it's really good for your brain. So just always remember. Sorry, I'm dying over here. I don't know what happened there.
It's all good. We're gonna get you water, brother.
I don't know where that came from. Hydration. I'm sitting here preaching about hydration and I'm dying.
Right.
So maybe my brain's telling me, "Hey, bro, you're using me too much. I need some water."
You know, I always offer you water every time you come
I know.
in, and you're always well hydrated, so you
Yes.
never have to grab it. But
Yes.
thank you, Darius.
So
Appreciate you, brother.
that's our amazing technician behind the thing that came to rescue me.
Our producer Darius.
Remember, hydration is great for the brain.
Hydration is also great when you have to do 30 minutes of content or multiple hours of content in a day, right here.
So, like I said, nootropics are a great gimmick. Ginkgo is. I'm always a fan of ginkgo because ginkgo's proven. It's been done for a while. Lion's mane's catching a lot of raves. My mother uses the lion's mane with her coffee, and she raves about it. But once again, it's in coffee, so it's kind of like
Is it in every coffee?
not in every coffee, but it's a big push right now. Mushrooms and coffee.
Okay.
It's a big push. Mushroom coffees are the new.
So when they say mushroom, that's what it is.
Yes,
the lion's mane.
it's a lion's mane. It's different ones in there. So there's lion's mane is the one that's getting the most attention. But when you go down to the mushroom, it's like this one, and there's too many to remember.
Okay.
So there's a ton of mushrooms out there that do these things that help your brain, and so they do help your brain. But you want to help your brain better by being restful and hydrated and food. Like I said, when you go most studies, the first thing they talk about is rest, water, and amino acids.
Yeah.
Essential amino acids, not branch, essential, which are the ones you get from food.
Yeah. So I'm actually kind of getting to a point right now where I'm checking all the boxes. I've gotten things figured out in my life, but as far as my schedule and stuff, not a whole lot of other things. But I got the RAD, I got the NAD plus, I have the eGuard, which not relevant to this conversation, but I figured out how to actually have a meal after my show in the morning. Got my coffee going, working out.
Next show's better, huh?
Yeah. The only thing I'm missing is the sleep, which who knows if and we should do an episode on this. You ever heard of the what is it called? Biphasal, something like that. They're basically like sleeping like 2 times, like spreading it out instead of sleeping like 8 hours straight, sleeping like 2-3 hour times throughout the day or something.
Those are called madmen.
There's a thing to it. There's a science behind it.
No,
dude.
I'll have to watch that because if I take a nap, I won't go back to sleep.
See, I can sleep for 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, I take a nap. I'm playing roulette. Do I wake up in 20 minutes?
All right,
or
you're
wake
gonna have
up
to
tomorrow?
go down that rabbit hole. We'll have a conversation about it, bro.
So, we're right about our 30-minute mark. It sucks that we only do these shows for 30 minutes.
Steve wants to go an hour.
This is a real interesting topic, and I know there's a lot of questions out there, and we're not being asked. We can step back and do another one on tropics because there's a ton of stuff I didn't touch. I didn't touch on the Alzheimer's and how a lot of these products affect Alzheimer's. I didn't go down the ADHD rabbit hole.
I would love that conversation. I have the ADHD.
We're
not surprised, right?
I watched this one real interesting documentary on this guy who they tried to put him on ADHD medication because he scored really high, but he was not very attentive in school. So when they did his IQ test, he scored very high. Then they put him on the Ritalin. He still scored decent, not as high, and it took him longer to finish the test.
Okay.
It's real interesting.
Dude, I've actually been on what is Adderall?
Adderall.
Terrible
Adderall.
stuff.
Well, for you to ADHD, it shuts you down.
Well, not only that, but it's because it's like an amphetamine, right?
Yes.
So,
Well, see, that's what they all are.
Yeah, it's literally like, and some of you guys probably taken this before, but it's like being on meth.
Well,
it's bad. And people get very addicted to it.
There's a product out there called Mentality from 5% Nutrition, and the guy who made it real smart guy, Rich Piana, and he made it as an herbal replacement for Adderall. And we sell it hand over fist during college finals.
Yeah. Is it any good?
Oh,
Is it safe?
it's Adderall.
It is Adderall.
It's Adderall. He made Adderall that was legal to sell.
I don't want to just take Adderall.
Yeah, no, I'm cool. Like I said, NMM, I could imagine on Adderall,
Right.
I'd be kicked out the house.
Bro.
I'd
nah.
walk down the street like Smokey, find me in a chicken coop.
And I can tell you someone who took it because I actually had a legitimate use for it and stuff. And I was like, well, let me see if I can solve this focus problem. You've helped me solve the focus problem as a byproduct of the other things we're doing together.
Yes.
But the Adderall, part of the reason is addicting, and part of the reason that I initially was like, oh, I enjoy taking it. It makes you feel good.
What did I talk about? What do all these products have in common? We'll go back to the nicotine. It's dopamine.
But I've even noticed, I have chocolate-covered espresso beans in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
When I take those, I get the same effect.
Dopamine.
Yeah.
It's all dopamine. Now, that's why cocaine is such a drug that so many people swear by, because they say it helps them work longer, do more, but it's short-lived because it's in and out of your system. And that's why people go broke on it.
Yeah.
Because it all falls back to dopamine. And once again, it falls back to your brain.
Dude, we can talk about this again next week if you want.
We can continue. So these are live. They will be archived. They will be put back up. You can find them on the 511 channel. And if you
On
go to
YouTube, go to 511 YouTube.
and Spotify.
Yep, Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
I finally got busted for using my
Facebook.
buddy's Spotify. I've been using it for like 6 years. They said, hey, man, send this home address. And I was like, bro, I ain't talked to him in a couple years.
Oh, that's funny.
So Spotify now has ads. But you can find us on there. Yes, I'm still a pirate. I have an IPTV guy too. So if you go on our YouTube, or if you go on the Spotify, and please leave messages. If there's different things you want to know about our nootropics, because like I said, it's just this huge rabbit hole you go down. They're all the rave right now. Brain stimulus are all the rave. If you want to find out some more information on the Nick NMM, feel free to stop by the family shop, 7420 District Boulevard. I'm generally there from 2:30 to about 7. We can talk about that, and I think that, that's rocket fuel. Your brain won't shut up. Those are really interesting things, but please leave a message. Please ask some questions. We can revisit this, and if we get enough people talking about it, we will revisit next week, and we'll go a little bit deeper. And if you really want to go down a rabbit hole, make sure you go up there and you click that link and see how the Nazis perfected meth.
Yeah. That's
Crazy.
Did you see that story about the guy who 70 years later took and is just as potent?
But yeah, it was still in the
Yeah.
This is how potent their meth was. They found the box of meth, and it's like I said, it's not meth. It starts with an F, but it's
No. It was legitimately methamphetamine,
no.
bro.
It's still the great grandfather. It's the gum wrapper.
Yeah, but they had some brand name for it, but it was methamphetamine.
No, but it's the gum wrapper. It started with an F.
But it wasn't the meth that is cooked in
it's
oil dumb.
Ricky Bobby is not making this.
No.
And 70 years later, he chews the gum and he was like, oh my God, this is fire. So
yeah,
that's how potent their stuff was. It's still kicking 70 years. So thank you very much for letting us entertain you this evening. Mike and I, this has been Muscle Matters. And remember, muscles do matters. See you next week.